is this little lady?
Milady, you wanna kick this one off? She said, "Give me more attention." How about you kick that off, punk? Milady, can you say S?
Milady, can you say M?
Milady, can you say soup? Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SMSoup, the #1 podcast with soup in the name, but not on the brain. I'm Spencer.
And I'm Shelby.
And this is Milady.
Her little head sticking out down here. She would probably stand there the whole 40 minutes to an hour that we record.
Dobby looking motherfucker. Hey! No. Alright, away you go.
Good luck with that.
Go.
Yeah.
And together we're here to take you on a journey through life's biggest questions, like, waiter, how is the soup made? Shelby, how you doing?
I'm good.
That's good.
Doing pretty good.
Nice.
How are you?
You didn't want to elaborate? You just wanted to move on?
I
mean, that was a long-ass intro, but, like, come on.
I feel like I really just haven't had anything exciting to say or update on, lately.
Okay.
Although I guess a lot of this is thanks to you because you actually help maintain structure when I just want to do something. It's been months since I've updated on my compost, since I updated on my plants, since I updated on my sourdough. All going great.
Wait, how's that? Wait, what?
Well, okay, maybe not the compost, but the other two. Things were
Gotcha.
looking real dodgy for a minute with my plants and my sourdough, and it took 1 week of me not being here and you being in charge for that all to turn around.
Not true at all.
I would say true.
No.
You don't think
You're
so?
being facetious.
I'm not.
You're being an ass.
All right. Well, I mean it.
Oh.
The sourdough, we'll be honest, I haven't tried a loaf yet, which is like the test. But I've made a few baked goods that have come out pretty good. And Spencer, would you like to say the name of the sourdough because you named it?
It's sourdough.
That really cracked me up. So that's my sourdough experience. Plants are looking good.
Took me 2 seconds to come up with that, by the way.
It did, yeah.
That's how on it I was.
I had nothing. Plants are looking good. Might start getting a pepper in the next week or so. I'm really excited. And yeah.
Do you think there's a chemical in your brain that dictates the amount of on you are when it comes to like quippiness?
Do I think it's a chemical in your brain?
Yeah.
No, not necessarily.
You think it's just practice?
I think it's just practice and what you find works for you in social situations. And probably tendencies you've learned from other people in your growing up.
I'm worried I'm not funny anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you're saying you lost, if it was a chemical, are you saying you lost said chemical?
Yeah.
Really?
A little bit.
What has you thinking that?
I don't know.
That's crazy because literally last week you were like, I'm so fucking on it on SMSoup.
Yeah, I know.
So you're saying between last week and today you lost it?
No. I'm saying that's why I'm asking if it's a chemical.
Okay.
So last week I just had my normal balance, but now it's like
You feeling not it today?
no, not today. I'm just saying like otherwise, like why didn't I feel as good about all the other weeks as I did last week? You know?
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sounds like you were just going through your cycle.
Maybe. It's a really long period.
Hey, it happens.
Period of time.
Oh.
No, I meant it the other way. Yeah, I don't know. I do not know.
There's probably a bit of motivation, interest, general positivity, and things like that are more just kind of how you're feeling as a whole that dictate, I would say, that sensation you were saying you had last week but haven't had for the past few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a bit of that.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Very tired.
Sorry to hear that.
Finished a project.
What project did you finish?
I finished the first retro in retrospect video. Which is basically just a mini review.
Yeah.
Nothing too serious. Of old games. Every Thursday you and I stream
retro games.
Old games. I mean, everything's retro if it's not the PS4 era or newer. PS3 is technically retro, which is very funny to think about.
That is funny.
But yeah, so I did that finally and released that finally over on my YouTube channel. And that took 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah, but it happened.
6 months in the making. It did happen. Indeed, it did happen. Yeah, so now I have that looming over my head to do the next one. And not have that take 6 months.
Yeah, I know that feeling. But hey, you did one.
So it was like
I think it's great.
It was
genuinely.
like a great feeling.
Yeah.
To get it done.
And then you immediately are faced with
dread.
I should do the others. Yeah.
Because I have 3 others currently. And then like now's the perfect time. Because you and I are playing Earthbound.
And it's taking forever.
It's a very long game.
Yeah.
I mean, we stream for 4 hours at a time tops normally. Especially during the weekdays. And I think Earthbound is like a good 30 to 40 hour game. So let's go the conservative end and say it's 40 hours. That's at least 10 maxed 4-hour streams. Which with certain games like that, it's like you kind of like, especially, well, I mean, a lot of old games in general, like you just don't know when your next save is going to be. So you kind of just need to like take it when you can.
Sure.
So like a lot of the streams end up actually only being like 3 hours or 3.5 or whatever, where it's like, we want to complete this one last thing. Okay, we've been going for 3 hours and 15 minutes. Can we really do something else in these next 45 minutes? Is it really worth pushing to like get put in like a weird spot, or did we like get to a nice end? So anyway, the game's taking forever, and that's kind of a good thing because it awards me the time to get all these other ones done so that I can be ready to hit the ground running with Earthbound as soon as it's done. And I know that's not going to happen.
Yeah. I know that all too well.
I have Chrono Trigger, Super Punch Out, Donkey Kong Country, and that's it?
Yeah, because we technically didn't finish Yoshi's Island. Which I'm going to cry the day we pull that back out. I have nightmares of that game. Should do a doubleheader, half Yoshi's Island, half Donkey Kong Country 2. A day of just terror.
That actually sounds terrible.
We'll just be so angry at everything.
You just don't try.
You got that right.
You just like,
I'm very low tolerance.
You like assume failure out the gate. And then you do fail. And so then you confirm your bias. And then you just go, what's the point? You don't actually ever try to get better at anything. And I feel like you're already so low effort in the first place.
Yeah.
With a lot of stuff. With a lot of these games. It's kind of frustrating.
You want to talk about it?
Well, I mean, the whole idea of playing the old games is, 1, a lot of games I haven't experienced. 2, you haven't played any video games, so you get the experience of playing, you get to go through a video game journey that is literally how video games released.
Yeah.
I say you didn't play any video games. I know you played video games, but
Not
not nearly
I'm not.
like,
I
to
would
a
never
level-
qualify myself as a gamer.
derogatory.
Yep.
Good. You
And non-derogatory.
should. Oh,
I would not classify as either. No, I know. I definitely hold very little patience for my ability, and there's not really a good excuse for that, but the best excuse I can come up with is I don't logically see how my skills will actually increase in the window of time we play it in. Which might be it's probably total bullshit.
so it's not even that, but that's really funny because what you're saying is that every game is in its own box.
Yeah.
And there's no way you could learn from doing one job and translate that knowledge to a new job. Do you do that? You don't do a job and then translate the knowledge that you gained
No,
from
I
doing
do.
that job to a new job.
I do.
Yeah, exactly. You do.
I know.
No, I'm being fucking serious. Don't fucking
I'm getting a little bit better.
don't no, hang on.
I'm doing better
I'm still
in-
yelling about you intentionally
Arguing with you?
deceiving. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Just don't do that.
Okay. I would say I'm doing better at Earthbound having played Chrono Trigger. A little bit.
What?
The what type of play is that?
Turn-based?
Turn-based?
Yeah, but Chrono Trigger, if anything, the actual fighting is tougher in Chrono Trigger.
I know. And so I'd say I've learned enough that
Well,
I'm not
no,
depending on
you're
you for
not-
every
you're
decision
not,
I make
like,
in Earthbound.
You're not translating that. Well, and I just stopped. I'm trying my best to not give you tell you what to do, because then what's the point of you even holding the controller at that point? Anyway, by trying to get better at Donkey Kong Country, I know it's also hard too because we trade off. So by the time you're actually getting up to the skill level you need to be, we've already made a skill jump because I've pulled us
Yeah.
through 3 additional levels.
Yeah.
And now I'm working to get my skill up to that level.
Yeah.
While you're still that is such a massive jump for you.
Yeah.
So you're barely sniffing, and then I get us to move on again.
Right.
So I kind of get it. But like, no, you should care, because if you can be even half decent at Donkey Kong Country 2, Donkey Kong Country 3 should be a little bit easier for you.
Yeah.
And then so on and so forth. Like, if you could actually be a decent gamer and we could stop with oh, well, Shelby's holding the controller, so let's just naturally assume that this isn't going to go well, right? Like, beyond just the fact that you're a woman.
Right.
I would love that. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I would love if there was confidence amongst both of us. I try to have as much confidence
You
as
have
I
more
possibly
confidence in me than I do.
I genuinely do.
I know.
I try to push it so that you have a little bit of confidence in yourself.
I'm
Because you're
none.
definitely more than capable of doing some of this stuff. So I would love if by the PS3 we could both have that confidence.
By the PS3.
Yeah, dude. Which is so far away. That is like wow, we're barely setting a goal.
I think by the GameCube there'll be a little more confidence.
Okay. Let me just think about that.
Mark my
PS1,
words.
64, PS2, GameCube,
Yeah.
PS3. Barely.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Sorry, I forget they're the same.
No, the GameCube though, we have so many games.
I
on the
know.
PS1.
It's going to take us 500
if you
years to
aren't-
get
If you
anywhere.
aren't even halfway decent by the PS2, we're getting a divorce.
Mark his words, everyone.
You're no longer my co-op partner.
No, it's a problem. It is.
Well, no, it annoyed me that you said,
I know.
Well, we only play over. So the game's only 6 hours. You're gonna do about 5 hours of the work. So what's even the point of me trying?
it's like, well, one, if you tried, I wouldn't have to do 5 hours of the work. Two, literally, you're going to yeah, okay, we're playing Donkey Kong Country and Super Mario World 2 or whatever isn't Donkey Kong Country, but in a lot of ways, it is because it's just a platformer.
Yeah.
So by trying with a lot of these, especially these platformers, they're more want to put your head through a wall than I feel like more modern ones.
Yeah.
Because we're all babies now.
I'm a baby.
Anyway, I don't even know how we got down that rabbit hole. I have 4 games that I need to do videos for.
Yep.
Chrono Trigger, Super Punch Out, and Donkey Kong Country. So I mean, I have like, I'm in a good window. And
Yeah.
It's only 3. I would love to have those done or almost near all of them done by the time we're wrapping up Earthbound.
Hell yeah.
But I'm not looking to release these videos like super close together. I want it to be like,
I mean, you could always finish it and then release them whenever.
yeah, I want it to be like semi-random though in a lot of ways. Like it's just going to be, I'm probably just going to release them on the Monday after I finish editing the video, as long as it's not the monthly clips video. Just because I wanted to, I don't want to set a strict schedule for it because at some point ideally I am caught up and then
it's just whenever we finish games.
And then it's like I'm not going to be able to stick to a schedule at that point, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
And it's like some games are going to take too long to be able to say like it's not going to be a monthly cadence because we aren't going to finish a game a month.
Right.
Like, so anyway, did that. Felt really good. Immediately.
You should feel good. Keep feeling good.
I'm giving myself an entire week before I even start to like think about writing the the script for Chrono Trigger.
Smart.
And I definitely want like I'm really hoping to gain some feedback on the first video of like how to like maybe change up some of the format and stuff like that. And I want to get like a more concrete like I'm going to talk about this aspect, then this aspect, then this aspect.
Yeah.
And wrap up final thoughts, right?
Yeah.
I like that's the one thing I don't love about the Mario one, the Super Mario World one, is I feel like it's like a little like just like frazzled.
Okay.
I don't know. I like think back or watch it back and I'm like, did I even really talk about anything? I don't know. So
I see what you're saying. Do you think you'll try and come up with like consistent points that you touch on for every game you play?
Yeah, like I think it's basically like
that effectively would make it like a rating system. Like I think it did this well. I think it did that not well.
Touch on the gameplay.
Yeah.
What was good about it? What was bad about it? Touch on the story. What was good? What was bad about it?
Yeah.
And I do think for the most part I did that with Mario.
Yeah, but was it like clearly
but
like?
Did I like break it into nice sections and like maybe we can like come up with like transitions as like we go into those like parts of it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's probably it's literally probably just gameplay, story, and then difficulty curve.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really important when talking about retro games. The whole concept is like if you were to go back and play this game on like the original hardware today, like does it hold up? And I think the hardware can be an issue fairly often with old games. And just the age, obviously, of the games themselves can be a bit of an issue. So,
yeah.
Like, I was already thinking ahead to, like, Super Punch-Out, and it's like, would I recommend somebody play this game today? And I think my answer would actually be no.
Yeah.
Because I just, like, I don't think the game really offers, like, such a transcendent experience. And I had issues with it because the save kept getting deleted.
Yeah.
And like that's obviously just my own cartridge and stuff, but it's like that's obviously something that you really have to consider with like those types of games. And can you beat it in one run? Absolutely. But like it's just pattern recognition and all that stuff. And it's just like personal opinion, probably not. Probably wouldn't recommend it to somebody to go back and play it.
I mean, did we almost beat it in one sitting?
We did, but we needed to like
do the save data.
Well, no, we needed to do a clean run through the like third.
Oh, right.
Circuit.
Yeah.
To unlock the secret circuit. We never even unlocked the secret circuit.
Right.
But we did finish the third circuit.
We did.
Anyway, that was a really rambly 20 minutes about how I am. What are we here to talk about?
We're here to talk about Milady. Who just is walking over here. Gonna try and get some more loving. She's gonna whack her head on your mic arm. Okay. No, today we're talking a little bit about gambling.
Stop.
In case you're new here, every month or every other month we adjust what like the back half of our episodes look like, the back half of each month. What is this? July. So
Evens are movies.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Even months are our movie club months where we watch a randomly selected year and watch all the best picture nominees and debate if, they deserved it, what our thoughts were, etc. And the odd months are a deep dive is how we're doing it at the moment. And what we tend to do is the last Monday of the month is the deep dive, and the week before tends to be something related to the deep dive. So
I'm starting to think we should actually be doing that flipped.
you think so? But if we already, I guess it would depend on the setting. Like certain things would lend themselves to better conversations if we've already covered the information. But regardless, we are covering some form of gambling next Monday. And it'll be some kind of deep dive, some type of like information-based covering of it. And today, the thing that sparked all of this was Spencer loves, and I shouldn't just say you, but you're the reason we do this, loves getting some Pokemon cards. Spencer, how would you sum up your feeling about Pokemon cards?
I like loot boxes.
Yes. Yeah.
Loot crates.
Yeah.
I get a stupid rush out of opening packs.
Yes.
And in a lot of ways, it is kind of gambling.
It's very loose.
I don't do it for value reasons.
Yeah.
I get a rush from like opening packs and like with Pokemon cards, especially like opening the packs and getting
rare cards
or just like cool art and stuff like that. And like, I don't know. I just like the randomness of it.
Yeah.
But it does translate to like video games as well. Like I will sit and open 1 trillion packs in MLB The Show.
Yeah.
Just hoping to like literally just like flip all the cards. Anything good? Next pack. Flip all the cards. Next pack. Flip all the cards. Oh my God, it's Mike Trout.
Yeah.
And then the rush you get from that, which I've actually gotten way better about that. I used to be terrible. Like as soon as I had enough stubs to buy 50 packs, I would do it. I was an addict. And then I learned that that's just terrible econ. So instead I spend real money on Pokemon cards.
Yay!
But again, I'm not like chasing anything.
No, I know.
I don't care about the like full collection or anything like that. But yeah, no, I get a rush out of doing that stuff.
I also thoroughly enjoy them. I definitely was one of those things where as a teenager, when I would like see them more and more, I wanted to have them, and I would occasionally get a pack of like never really anything consistent, but I would randomly get one of those little like blind pouches. I don't know what they're actually called, but like they'd have a figurine in them. I'd occasionally get a Pokemon card pack. I've done like various things. And then I will say almost immediately upon having done it, I would like open it and then go, now what do I do with this? What do I do with this?
Not the exact same, but with like, again, opening packs in MLB The Show, especially, it's like I would buy 50 packs and then I would get nothing.
Yeah.
Like I would get nothing. I would get no diamond players or something like that out of all 50. And it'd be like, why did I do that?
Right.
Which I imagine is very similar. I don't do like sports betting or anything. I dabbled for a little bit, and it's like you bet any amount of money, but like if I bet $5 for the Cardinals to win and they lose, I'd be like, why the fuck did I bet on that?
That was just a lose-lose situation.
Right.
Like your team lost and you lost money.
Right.
So I love the act of opening the Pokemon cards. Like I'll say loosely collect Pokemon cards. I do love opening them and I love looking at them, but it actually brings me more joy that it's your activity that I just help with over it being mine. Because I think if it was mine, I would have the reaction I get that I described getting as a teenager to like trying a few things. Because I really would be like, now what? Like, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
So, I just thought it'd be interesting because I remember this was easily a few months ago. I was like, what is a fun activity that could scratch that itch, I will loosely say, without maybe needing to spend money, without like kind of having it become what could be like a problem.
Yeah.
That was kind of where I wanted to go today.
I would say the biggest issue with it though is that in a lot of ways, the fun or like the reason you get such a rush is because you have stake in it.
Sure, that's absolutely valid.
I feel like
yeah.
that's the reason why you inputted value.
Yeah.
And now you're like, what value am I going to
You're
get back?
receiving value by that exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's like,
and it being a surprise heightens that value.
right.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. And I'm not saying anything we come up with or suggest or talk about will like perfectly replace that. I just like, I remember I started Googling when we were talking about this, and I was sent down some insane Reddit rabbit holes of like, people genuinely like, I am blowing stupid amounts of money on these things. I mean, again, I know it brings a lot of people joy. I'm not trying to diminish that. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying don't make them. But I think I think at the end, what I'm going to say is you have to analyze what parts of it bring you that joy and what can you do to like find that feeling in other activities
100%.
that aren't always just that. Is I think what it's going to come down to. Milady is not settling at all. Can you sit? That's not sitting. Can you sit? She just wants to be in our laps. Okay. So, again, not really getting into like the destructive behaviors of gambling or anything, because again, this is not really gambling. But it does definitely all tie together, because at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're receiving, kind of like boosts of serotonin, dopamine, etc. We're like getting the quick, what is that called? Quick, no, like quick, no, where it's like all of us now want instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
We're all, it's literally a method of instant gratification. So that's why it's all loosely connected, but I'm not here trying to like say anything about gambling. We are really having problems with Milady. But again, focusing largely on, I'll say like loot crates, blind bags, collecting cards, etc. It's obviously, to me, Spencer can mildly disagree or expand upon this. Doing them, opening them, whatever, is like the act of receiving like a small present, a small surprise. Like you said, there's obviously stake in it if you've input value into it and stuff like that. It's like pulling items out of cereal boxes. That was always a thing as like a kid. You like wanting to like, you get a gift for a thing you already enjoy. It feels like an added benefit, I would say. And I connected that. I Googled alternatives to like stuff like this. If like Google was just if you were really quick, be like, what are other things I should do? And some of these cracked me up because I always see the top activity alternative as exercise. I think because they're like, obviously exercise naturally increases your like dopamine and serotonin and like makes you feel good. Yeah, it like, blasts your body with a lot of feel good chemicals.
I gotta be honest though,
it cracks me up that that's always it's almost always one of the top two suggestions.
Yeah, it's so funny though because like,
but those are two very different activities.
This is also just me. I think like when you're at the point where you're like, this is like an addiction.
Yeah,
I like have to keep doing this thing. And this goes for anything. Then I think exercise is like the healthiest possible outlet for that energy.
Yeah.
And because it'll help like you get those like natural highs, if you will.
Yeah.
And hopefully save your wallet and everything else. When I think about these things though, because it's much more passive, I actually think exercise, this is going to sound ridiculous, is like a terrible like replacement because I open Pokemon cards so infrequently.
Yeah.
So infrequent. Like I will sometimes stockpile I think I opened a year's worth of releases like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And then as soon as I was done, I had the itch still for like a day or two. And then I played some video games and it was gone. You know what I mean? Like, so that's like saying like, I'm not going to do anything for a year and then I'm going to run a marathon.
Right.
And then I'm going to have the itch to go running again for a day or two.
Right.
And then I can just stop.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't like actually like help like to solve it.
Yeah, I would agree.
But anyway, that's obviously personal. That's just me. But I do think that's funny that exercise is always like the go-to. And I mean, it's not terrible advice, right? Like everybody should exercise and a lot of people should exercise more than they do for sure.
It is also just like if you're literally like all I want to do is this activity and you find you like can't bring yourself to think about anything else and for whatever reason like it's borderline an addiction, you're just like I literally just shouldn't spend any more money this month like for budgetary reasons, like whatever it is. Obviously one exercise so easily helps pass time. Like you're not sitting there like counting the minutes like while you're doing a physical activity. And especially like being outside, it's like so good at getting your brain off of the things you're hyperfixating on. So it is like a dual benefit, obviously, if you can exercise outside. But yeah, like they obviously encourage like nature activities, stuff like that. Because to just remove yourself from the environment in which you're like hyperfixating on it. But that is not really what I'm trying to get at today. It just cracks me up that those are always the fixes.
I also think it's really tough because I'm curious to see like what other options like people or what other like ideas people have, because I think another like huge factor is randomness.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And so it completely opens it up that there's a 90% chance you're going to be disappointed because of the randomness, right? But again, it's that like high that you're chasing, that like elevated feeling you're going to have that 10% of the time when you actually hit and get something. So anyway, I'm curious how you would like do that because it's so different, right? Like it's a surprise, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. But like you giving me a present, like you could give me a present, right? I have no idea what it is. Not the same as if you just handed me a pack of Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
I'm way more excited for the Pokemon cards.
That's
the possibilities
so funny.
of the box, endless.
Too many that you can't actually get excited.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Right.
That's funny.
But like, what's going to be in there? Probably a book or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God.
But the Pokemon cards is like, I know it's going to be Pokemon cards.
Right.
And might be a Charizard.
Sure. I will say in terms of like people having ideas, it was mostly just like probably limit yourself to X amount a month, whether that's a financial amount or a quantity amount. And honestly, the biggest recommendation I saw outside of, just try to get other hobbies so you don't feel so fixated on one hobby was watching videos of it. If that is possible to like replace that satisfying feeling. Because I mean, in case you've literally never Googled or been shown someone unboxing something, there are millions of videos on every platform that exists showing you someone unboxing something.
This is all reminding me that I do have a order of Pokemon cards.
Oh my God,
he's gonna be on the way.
Ordering Pokemon cards. But
I did 2 orders. Don't even get me started on the second one.
Oh no, what's wrong? Sorry, don't get you started.
It was like $450,000.
Really?
No.
So I was just trying to think of
setting limits is really good. Sorry,
yes,
I just
absolutely.
wanted to just go back to that. Setting limits is like extremely smart, and I think like that's another thing about
everything's good in moderation.
Back when we counted, well, not everything.
Everything.
No.
Except ice cream.
Exactly. Ice cream's just always bad.
No.
Always good.
Yeah.
Okay. I got there.
Back when we were counting.
Back when we were counting all of our items, probably. We, I think, talked about how, like, I collect things.
Yeah.
Like, I collect categories.
Yeah.
I collect video games. I collect Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
If we would have counted every individual Pokemon card, I would have blown you out of the fucking water.
Correct.
But
also, if we would have counted every scrap piece of fabric, I would have blown you out of the water even more than I did.
Definitely not.
You don't
With
think
all the
so?
bulk Pokemon cards there are.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So, and I think you said it at one point. So I was at a time I was buying like every product.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not trying to collect everything, but I would buy every new product. So they do boxes that'll have like 2 promo cards and then like 6 random packs.
Yeah.
I used to get all those. I used to get every single tin. I used to get every single. There's other things.
Like
those
every
were the main ones. I would get
version of a product that would release that had cards in it, you would,
I would
get
the
it.
tin, I would get
Yeah.
the boxes, and then like I would always get either an Elite Trainer box or a booster pack bundle.
Yeah.
Which is like 32 or 36 packs.
Yeah.
Or if some sets don't do those, they do ETBs instead, the Elite Trainer boxes. So I would get one of those because that was like my bulk way of getting that set's packs.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would also buy the boxes, which would give me like all the other sets potentially, and stuff like that. And 1, started to get a lot of bulk, and then 2, I think you said it at one point because I was like, "There's just so much. It does get expensive for sure." And I think you were just kind of like, "You don't need to collect everything. Like, you're in for a penny." In for a penny, in for a pound? Or something like
I
that?
don't know. Yeah.
It's like you were basically trying to say like, okay, yeah, you started, but like you don't have to keep doing it. You don't like have to write all this other stuff.
You're not contractually obligated to do
like
anything.
I can stop at any time.
Yeah.
But yes, so I like came to grips with it, and I was just like, well, wait, I don't care about completing sets.
Right.
I mean, if I ever get close to one, then I'll just buy the individual cards
Exactly.
if I really care that much.
Yeah.
Which like it's literally the mindset I needed to get with MLB The Show, where it's like I need to stop buying packs and just save my money and then buy the individual players,
right?
Because I have a better shot. That's a guarantee.
Yeah.
I'd rather spend $20 on one card than spend $20 on packs and not pull the fucking card
and have all this excess shit that you're not like, what do I do with this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, I now only buy either the booster bundle or the ETB. If I do buy the ETB, because it's so many less packs, I will then normally buy a majority of the boxes and tins, or I'm more inclined to. And then any boxes or tins that are like a Pokemon that I particularly care for, I'll get it.
Yeah.
So like setting limits is like a really healthy way of interacting with just about any sort of like hobby.
Yeah. Oh my God, absolutely.
Because
I mean, that's something like I struggle with. I basically had to cut myself off from intaking any more material. I have literally not purchased any material in the year of 2024. And I still have the most disgusting backlog of material for sewing purposes.
Yeah.
Like literally I have way too much. Like just I've accumulated way too much. And yeah, I have not purchased a single item this year, and I still have too much.
Yeah.
So it's literally just like for whatever it might be, like a temporary buying freeze, like you said, setting a monthly or whatever frequency that something occurs. Whatever frequency something occurs, limiting it to only so much or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I play a lot of video games, right? And so, like, not even like before I was doing true video game collecting. You know, like you obviously just like create a backlog of games you want to play, and like I've needed to like figure out ways of setting limits there because it's just impossible. You buy so many games. I mean, anybody who's a PC gamer knows this better than just the average gamer because there's this thing called Steam, and Steam does Steam summer sales where you can buy 1 trillion games for 99 cents and you fucking do it and then you never play any of those games. It's really easy to fall in that trap of like, this is a good deal.
Yeah.
So you just got to find ways to set healthy limits for yourself. And then once you do it, it's like, it becomes second nature so quickly. It becomes so easy to keep up with. It's just a matter of breaking the habit, which can sometimes be the hardest part.
Oh my God, absolutely.
That goes for any addiction.
Yeah.
Anything.
Any activity, absolutely. I
Let's go. Come here.
Milady is causing problems. She clearly just wants to play right now, but we are just gotta finish this. She just doesn't understand. She's making it take longer. Okay, so I try to do some thinking of and to be clear, I've made it very clear in the upfront that these blind boxes, loot boxes, whatever, yeah, they appeal to me, but they clearly don't appeal to me enough to like get pulled into it, because I've quite often, when I've participated, mildly regretted it. So it clearly isn't completely for me. But I tried to analyze what part of it I love.
Okay.
And so like what I would do or even possibly recommend to someone who thinks like this
Okay.
to replace this like feeling, or how to get it elsewhere, not necessarily replace, get it elsewhere as well. Which you already, I feel like, disproved one of the things I said.
I'm sorry, I got really rambling.
No,
there.
you're fine. It's funny because I know we're going to have completely differing opinions, because I think we get very different things out of this activity. So my favorite part of this whole experience is like getting little trinkets. Like I am to my core a quote unquote like pack rat. Like I just love collecting little things. And then I like hold on to my little trinkets and they're shiny and I like looking at them. And then eventually I don't want them anymore and they get recycled, whatever. Then done. I'm done with them. So for me personally, I genuinely find the easiest way that I scratch that itch is, for me, I will continue collecting little trinkets, but it's like I'm still like that 8-year-old who like collects rocks. Like that for me is like scratching that itch. Like if I just want to hold on to something for a little bit, I literally will pick up a fucking rock that's outside and hold on to it for a little bit. And then when I don't want it anymore, I just put it back outside.
Okay.
So, that was obviously the closest I came to finding like an activity like that you pay zero money for and you like collect something and then you can, whatever you want to do with it. For alternative ideas, if you live with someone else, you could make an effort, or you could make a joint effort into literally surprising each other with like little things. So if anything from you found, honestly, to me, this is entertaining. To you, you're probably like, I don't understand why you do this. But like if you find a really random ass thing in like the back of a drawer or closet, and I'm not saying like wrap it, but find some way of like effectively blind boxing it. And I just think like little shit like that is entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you like make food or bake and you just happen to be baking one day and the other person's not around, kind of like blind box style, like put a container over it and they don't know what it is. And it's like, I think implementing little things like that when people know maybe you like, I'll say surprises or little trinkets or little things like that, I feel like that can be a method of having fun with it, like for people who enjoy that. Obviously anything like leaving small letters, notes, messages is like a small rush of dopamine, a small surprise, stuff like that. If you live alone and can't possibly like have someone around to like be doing stuff like this, I am a thorough believer in cycling out your belongings, because I feel like a lot of the times the like need to do something comes from a feeling of like either boredom or just feeling stagnant. And so it can be anything from like holiday decorations to just like the books on your shelf, like only keep so many out at a time and put the rest in like a box. And then whenever, say you do it quarterly, say you just do it when you feel the urge, it's kind of like that spring cleaning sensation of you like remove it all. You get to look at it all again. You get to like be like, oh my God, I have this. And you're like re-excited over something you already have. And obviously it's not a blind box, but we tend to forget the shit we don't see in front of us all the time.
Sure.
So it kind of like recreates that level of excitement over something you now look forward to and have and are re-displaying on your shelf and like box old stuff away. Obviously that can be for like decorations, whatever. And then my last idea was possibly, if you're a little more crafty, would be like junk journaling / scrapbooking. Because again, I think this comes from the like very collective-y mindset, but like cutifying it. So specifically junk journaling is like throughout your day, your week, whatever, you kind of hold on to all the scraps of shit that happened in your life. Like, oh, this receipt from having gone out to this really nice meal, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to stick it in a box. And then sometime down the road when I have time, I'm going to open this box and like kind of like put it out on a piece of paper and, oh, this made me think of this memory, and I'm gonna like print a photo from the day that happened and kind of like memorializing like little fun trinkets you've kept from like recent times, and thus kind of like, again, I think it's a lot about kind of like hitting that part of your brain that's like fond of something and loves something and cherishing it and getting to like kind of interact with it in a way that isn't so like in the moment and then you forget about it 30 seconds later. That little activities like that, I think, again, I know it's not blind boxing, it's not any of that, but it's the shit you've forgotten about. And then when you pull it out, you have that little like, oh yeah, like, yay, like that immediate like excitement that I feel like happens from that reaction of kind of revealing something to yourself. Those are my, again, not the same, but I feel like they would kind of hit that area of your brain. You're gonna be like, none of them. Knew that was gonna happen.
I don't know, dude. It's just like, it's a feeling that I think is like really hard to like match.
Oh, I do agree.
Like,
yeah,
you know, and I don't really know how else you do it. I think, I don't know. It would be one thing if like it didn't require like monetary input, right? Like if it was free,
right,
then like it would be great
right,
because you couldn't lose your livelihood because of these things,
right.
And this goes for like all manners of like gambling, you know,
Sure.
From true like gambling, casino gambling, if you will, to loot boxes,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, I think with like loot boxes and like Pokemon cards and like that whole avenue, you know, the truly tied to like video game-esque and video game culture, I would say, in general. I think the main thing is that there's just randomness.
Yeah.
And I think that's just so hard to like match.
It is.
Like, I don't know how you create a randomness thing. Like, you kind of were like, oh, well, you don't know what's under the box,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
but like you
No,
kind of do.
I know.
Right? Like,
I
you're
know.
like, it smells
not-
like cinnamon in here. I think I know what's under there.
It's not the same. I also do think in like, I'll say again, these loot crates or whatever, the cool thing about them is it can really quickly create like a sense of community. And especially if you like get to talking to other people, I think there could be a lot of value in, I'll say sharing or exchanging or something, like, because you kind of always end up with these extras and excess that you don't know what to do with. And I think kind of maybe trying to focus your attention on like meeting other people who are into those things, whether virtually or in person. And yeah, if that just means like swapping, if that just means getting together and talking about like, oh my God, I opened up this figurine. It's like so fucking cute. This one's my favorite. Like that can add another layer to that activity that isn't just collecting or isn't just buying something and opening it and then that feeling's over.
Yeah.
That like extends the life of that activity, is like making more out of it. And I do think there is value to things like that as well, obviously.
Yeah.
Again, at no point am I trying to say don't do any of these things.
No, I mean, again, it's like a matter of like knowing how it rules your world and your psyche and all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, but yeah.
So I didn't come up with one good alternative for you?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think any of them are good enough to like scratch the actual itch.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
But it's tough.
It's tough.
Really tough.
It is. And that's why like I was literally Googling and it's not like anyone really has a fix because it just comes down to a lot of it comes truly down to impulse control and self-control.
I mean, talking about brain chemicals,
yeah,
which I brought up early on.
Yeah.
You know, half joking, but also very serious. My comedy count is very low. There has to be an additional chemical that we haven't figured out yet in the brain that is somehow like the particular part of the brain is preconditioned to being soothed by these activities.
Yeah.
There has to be a very particular part of the brain. We went and saw Mike Birbiglia 3 weeks ago now at this point. He's one of our favorite comedians. And I think during his set, he was talking about how his dad was a doctor and is very knowledgeable. And how he said to his dad, isn't it crazy how we only use 1% of our brain? And his dad was like, no, you use your brain to its full capacity. We just only understand
1%
so much
of it. Yeah.
So I like to think like that kind of gives you a little bit of hope, right? Where it's like, there's still so much we don't know.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So my hope is that we're going to figure out a portion of the brain that is satisfied by these things, and we can hopefully come up with
better ways of satisfying it. Yeah. No, you're right. I would say in like the short term, we just know that the instant gratification, the quick rush of like happy chemicals does tend to obviously make us want to seek it out more. Like we know that at the very least, even amidst not knowing a lot of other things.
No, I know.
Which is where it comes down to more of the impulse control and stuff like that. Because it's not, even though we love treating ourselves, it's not like you can say yes to every little thing your brain wants to do.
Right.
But yeah. Well, join us next week where we will do some kind of deep dive on gambling. We got some stuff in the works, but we got some research to do.
I know we aren't set on it, but I brought up to you, I would really like to... I feel like sports betting, especially, is like the new hotness.
Yeah.
It's becoming legal in various states and stuff like that, where you can just do online sportsbook and stuff. And it has a pretty tight stranglehold on society, I would say, right now. And I mean, I'm fairly indifferent to it. Like, I think it's a bit much.
It's not an itch for us,
but I think it's a bit much. But like, I think examining that and then also examining like marijuana.
Yeah.
Examining alcohol. Examining what other things were once illegal and then made legal.
Oh, I don't know about that specifically.
But like various vices.
I think
right?
you had pointed out the trends of addictions, basically.
And the peaks and valleys of these things and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And how these things... Smoking cigarettes, right? Was like, who cares?
Yeah,
just do it.
Yeah,
what's the worst that can happen, right?
Right.
And then it gets to like, these things are extremely addictive.
Yeah,
and they're going to destroy your lungs and stuff like that, right?
Right.
So like, watching those like peaks and valleys of how we like come around on things, figure out like, I wish we treated certain drugs the way we treat alcohol, because alcohol can still be very, very bad, but we all have at least
a social
understanding of like what is an appropriate amount and stuff like that, right? Or a legal limit, right?
Right.
And I wish we could get there with certain drugs as well, because in a lot of ways alcohol could be way more harmful than them,
right?
And stuff like that. So like figuring out like all those things and figuring out the healthy balances of like various vices and stuff like that, and like what's going to be the peak and valley of gambling as it's going to hit a balloon. It's going to, and that balloon's going to pop hard, hopefully, right? So because it can ruin people, and we got to get better about that, and not being so
pushy about it. Yeah, capitalism, baby.
So anyway, I have no idea how we're gonna tackle all that, and
we're in the beginning research phases, so can't really give too many more details than that. But that is the rough idea of where we're going. You're like tapping my like kick reaction.
Okay.
Don't.
So, but you aren't reacting.
Okay, so but it's like making my leg hurt. That.
I'm worried that you're reacting.
Yeah,
you're not reacting.
You think you got to keep doing it, make sure it's working.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you can find both of our socials down in the description. Definitely go to at the Basement Gamer, where there's this really cool Super Mario World video, and you should go watch it and go, wow, can't wait for you to make all the rest of them in this series. Thank you, gracious overlord. Anyway, subscribe, like SMSoup podcast, whatever all the things tell you to do, and we'll see you next week.